Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. We're here today discussing episode 3 of Skeleton Crew. This review is coming out a bit late because honestly I thought the show came out at midnight, but no, a bit more sensible. Either way, glad to have you guys here. Glad that you joined me. Before we begin, the Ekpire continues to grow. If you're playing the new Pokemon trading card game Pocket, make sure you check out my new channel. We just hit 900 subscribers. Our videos are popping off. I think we should hit 1,000 tomorrow, but if you want to get in before that, link down in the description. All right, I gotta say, I unabashedly am loving Skeleton Crew. This is what I wanted from shows like The Mandalorian, and I think what The Mandalorian lost as it moved into season 3, a show which is set in the Star Wars universe, but which is its own adventure, and which also doesn't take the overall connections to the Skywalker saga or everything else too seriously. This is where I think shows on Disney Plus can really flourish and where I'd like to see them spend more of their time. It also, of course, continues to be remarkable to me that this show, which features pretty much a competition every episode for the most ridiculous alien they can create, exists in the same universe as Andor, and that's just really great. For real though, the show has just such a comfortable feeling to me, like it comes straight out of the 1980s, and I don't mean that simply in the style it's trying to recreate, but also the 80s and 90s in terms of the Star Wars stories we were getting, whether in the early Bantam era novels, the RPG guides. There's just something really fun about this show, and it reminds me of watching, especially for some reason, Return of the Jedi as a kid and imagining the backstory for all of these aliens and scoundrels in the universe. So I really hope the show can keep that up. Before I go into the full review though, one really awesome detail, we got my man Alfred Molina in the episode. I recognized his voice instantly. He plays Benjar Pranik, the pirate who confronts Jod, Crimson Jack, whatever his name is, after he goes back to rescue the droid. And that's my big thing that I was really impressed with this episode. I was a bit concerned that the show was going to play Jod's whole secret persona thing just for way too long. When the other main characters are kids, you have the opportunity from a storytelling standpoint, if you choose, to take the shortcut and just say, hey, they're dumb, they don't realize what's going on. But the show surprised me in having the kids sniff out the deception right away, even discussing some of the ways he could be lying about the Force, like I know a lot of us were before the show released. I saw the main conflict being that Jod sort of falls in love with these kids that he's taking care of, but they discover his true identity, and although he doesn't intend to double-cross them anymore, that leads to conflict. Obviously now that could still happen, but all the deception has been wiped away right off the bat, and I think that's sort of refreshing. But it's really been the characters which have continued to impress me the most. I know some people have problems with Fern in particular. Oh, she's bossy, she's not very nice, and that's just how kids are. You know, I've got 3 kids myself. One is not as old as these kids, but he's old enough that the friend groups have power dynamics. Kids will be bossy, and honestly, a lot of it is overcompensating for insecurity or a way to protect oneself or kind of just what they've learned. And given what we've seen from Fern's mother, I'm not surprised, and I think her character is going to offer a lot more depth than we know so far. But yeah, kids are funny. I think all the kid actors have been just so great. Wim might be my favorite. I said this last episode. He reminds me a lot of my son. The scene where Neil gets to fly the ship and Fern and Win completely forget about surviving and are just upset that they don't get to. That's just so realistic. And then he gets in the gun, he's spinning around. It's so entertaining. You never really think the kids are in danger. This is Star Wars. It's a light-hearted adventure. Sort of the nature of their home planet, which we're learning more about, contributes to that. It's this secret treasure world hidden by the Republic, but also there is a bit more mystery there, and it's compelling. There's this barrier which is up. They've secluded themselves from the galaxy, or rather they were initially secluded by the Republic from the galaxy. This great work project, there's something going on there. There's an interesting mystery that I'm excited to unravel. But one thing I'm really surprised by is how consistently good the effects and the overall effort into the show seem to be. You know, I said this about the Book of Boba Fett as well, and you can certainly complain about pretty much everything from the Book of Boba Fett, but I enjoyed especially the first few episodes because of the effort put into the environments and the prompts. It felt the most to me like scenes out of a Star Wars movie. I don't know if that has to do with how the directors use the volume or what, but Skeleton Crew is also right there. Now, it's a bit more ambitious in terms of scale, I think, and you probably see a little lower quality overall, but the scale of the action scenes have really been impressing me. We're having complete characters, which are obviously computer generated. The owl, for example, worse shows would not be able to pull the owl off, not just because of technical limitations, but because Star Wars is sometimes at its best when it has kooky and wacky characters. Yes, the owl is an owl, but it's also a fully sapient, sentient being. Of course, it's into maps and coordinates and stuff, and they work the humor of the owl's stature and body into the show in a really nice way. And like, from a YouTuber standpoint, I don't know what I'm supposed to talk about. It's a show based on vibes. I can't break down the lore connections besides pointing out, hey, there's a B1 battle droid, but I think everyone probably noticed that. So I'll just end off by saying I'm enjoying it. I hope you are too. I understand why certain Star Wars fans wouldn't appreciate this, and I don't think less of them, but it works for me, and my son also really loves this show. I told him a new episode is coming out tonight. He was actually sick home from school today, and I'm almost certain, no matter how he's feeling tomorrow, he's going to claim to be sick, but we'll see. Anyway, I'll end this video with one final question. PI1764 says, do you think At-Aten is one of the satellite galaxies orbiting the main galaxy? Probably pretty clear after this episode, but no, I never thought that. My initial theory on this show was that it was going to be kids basically on a school trip when the ship from Ahsoka jumps to hyperspace and they get flung to some distant place, maybe even Peridia. But I was completely wrong, and it seems clear that At-Aten is somewhere in the galaxy, probably the Outer Rim, who knows, and that the Republic, the old Republic that is, was trying to seclude it from everything else. Also, how funny was it when Alderaan was brought up, and that shit's gone now. But that's all I've got. Sorry this video is a bit more freeform. We've got an interesting one on Anakin Solo coming tomorrow, so make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on for that. I'll see you next time. As always, may the Force be with you.